So how can you prove it? How do you prove anything you say? Well, you don't. That's why cops can't be called on things that aren't proven. I mean, you can call them, but there's nothing that you can prove. Can't prove what you're saying. Impossible to do that because it's all merely circumstances. However, when you go in a direction that you usually go, let's say you leave your house and you got to go up a street and then you have to turn left or right and there's a house right in front of you like when you go there. So you're always going to see this house every time you go up that same direction. Maybe some people have experienced this with that one particular house. There's always like action happening there. It almost seems like a like a happening family because there's always some type of things happening, as if you can see it from a distance and you look, you see like people are still, and then all of a sudden it's like you seen, you didn't hear it, but somebody said action, and then you see like, and then they start moving. Now this happens frequently at this one house that I drive by, whichever, day in and day out. I drive by the house because it's the main direction to go. So there's always somebody doing something just to get your attention. That's what it seems like. Now, I could be paranoid. It could just be me. It could just be paranoid and just thinking things out loud again on YouTube. For some reason, they haven't shut my channel completely down yet. They've allowed me to continually speak about these things that I'm talking about because I can't prove any of them, only in the hearts of those that it's been proven to. So when they know what I'm talking about, that's the main part, because they have to understand first and foremost, because they're the ones that run the system that they're doing against you. The ones doing this on you are the ones that know the truth. They may have turned from it before, but it's kind of hard. Like when you know the truth and you turn from it now, it's more of a conviction. So my point is, I have a confession to make about my desire to convict someone of something that I have no clue of, even though I know in my heart, can't prove it, but proved it. I proved it today. Today is October 25th, 2021, 8:34 p.m. What I proved today, now I don't have it on recording. I did record it, but it was in my pocket, and I wouldn't have seen it anyway because it's dark out. But what I seen with my own two eyes, I'll explain what I seen. And if I didn't see it, I wouldn't say that I seen it. Everything I see when I don't record, those that know me, they know that what I'm saying is true. So again, it's about reshaping the pyramid to the exact opposite. Like it just needs to be flipped over. The pyramid needs to be flipped over like that. And then you start serving the people above you. You just start serving them. Not the way it's been. Not the people above you, like the ones that have the money and they can, it's all about the money. Not them. So to the ones that are in charge, my goal is to get the spirits that I know are in certain people, guaranteed. If not, I wouldn't even waste my time. And you would know that because I wouldn't have continually been on the people I'm on if I thought I was in the wrong direction. And you've all made it clear to me that no, you're in the right direction. You still don't know what's all truly happened. People are still playing games. You'll figure it out though. Those that have faith, I'll figure it out. I just need time. I need time to listen to people. I need time to hear what people are saying. I need time to listen to the code words and find the right people. I just needed some time to do that. In order to cast a nagging demon inside of yourself, I did this for my wife just now, about an hour ago. And the reason being is because I want everybody who's hiding in secret, the people that I thought before, like, who knows, what, maybe not, but no, yes, definitely. The people that definitely are gonna see and hear more of me with whatever it is. Even if you're not even someone on YouTube, but those that have the ability to look into cameras wherever you go, they can see that it's a... See, I don't have to hurry and explain myself because I don't have a time limit on here. I gotta remember that sometimes. I gotta relax. Going to a person and telling them you know what they're doing, but you have no proof that that's what they're doing. So whenever you say something to those people that you know are doing something, what kind of response are you going to get? So I'll give you the story of what happened today. Me and my wife drove by. We seen, right before we make a left onto our street, the house is right there. It's right there. So there's always activity going on. This activity was, the person walked out from the garage to the car. There's always something. There's always movement, and the car is in reverse. It's people. It would go in reverse in front of you way too many times, as if it's just such a coincidence. And you can think it's a coincidence, and maybe it is in certain cases, and maybe it isn't. You're either hot or cold. I can't prove what I'm saying is true. I'm not trying to prove it to anybody. Well, no, I am, but I'm not forcing you to believe me. Believe what you want. This is how I will like to change things and say certain things that I can't prove, but say it in a way that can get them to bite. They bite. Demons bite. You can, and that demon will. Robin, what'd you say? I didn't even hear you. I wanted to do it, make sure my wife heard it. This is the most important thing, because my wife still struggles with the fact of the reality of what she knows to be true and what I know to be true and what those who are doing it to us know to be true. You know that it bothers me 0. You know that it used to bother me 100%. I went from one to the other. So I understand what it's like to be bothered severely by it. I know my wife is going through some stages of it, so I help her prepare with what I know. Because there's always a tactic, because you know in your heart is true. It's not nothing you're doing is in the wrong, demonic. You're actually having a conversation with your neighbors. So my conversation was with the neighbor. I said, I know you have that app that alerts you every time I drive by. I just want you to let you know that I know. She said, what's that? All right, maybe you can say I didn't hear you. Maybe you can say that. Maybe that's true. Can't prove that it is or isn't. But at the end of when I get closer to the main point of the story, I'm going to explain how I prove that that's true to me. I did it in a way that I can prove it to me solely in my heart that makes me feel 1,000 times better because I helped my wife cast away this lingering demonic presence of being irritated at somebody. Because what's the irritation is they're doing it without you letting them know that you know what they're doing, even though you can't prove it. That's the key. That's the key. You got to prove that to those that are doing it to you that you can't prove. So the idea is to get the person to acknowledge the fact that you know that every time you drive by, just about, that there's an alert that goes on someone's phone and they do it, and then they do an act when you drive by. It's nothing. It's like none of this is even harmless, although it is in the beginning because of the spiritual awakening towards the fact that you're being harassed all the time purposely. And this isn't stopping. It isn't stopping any time in your head if you don't know the ending from the beginning. So it's going to continue on. And this is what gets people depressed, committing suicides, because they cannot prove why they committed suicide. Now, I'm not trying to get anybody to commit suicide, but they are committing suicide with their plans when they continually try to put the wool over my eyes and keep me blinded, and or keep me from not saying what I know to be true. So what I'm saying is things that I know to be true in my heart, and if they're not, I'll be corrected. There's some more correction to be made with everybody because we're all being deceived. I'm just speaking it out loud. I don't have a boss. I don't have a commander except for God in heaven. That's it. The Spirit of God that gave me a desire to come into this YouTube platform on April 2nd, 2017. In order to, I don't know what I was doing. I needed to get it out. I needed to get the stuff out because of my sickness. Because you can't tell anybody. Nobody gets it. Maybe some people are, maybe not. In my case, nobody really wanted to hear it. So I knew that I could push record and upload a video to the YouTube platform. If nothing else that I was trying to do, I was trying to just flush that out of my system because I know that in videos you can talk about things to get them out of your system. You teach yourself as you're talking, and this is what I've been doing to myself, teaching myself as I'm talking, and also listening to other people. All the other people I listened to, they made up their own decision. I've got a lot of knowledge from people on the inside, and I appreciate all of it, even though you're the same ones that have been attacking me from the beginning. I just didn't know that. I didn't know that. I found out your employees, like the Sons, and I think I exposed every one of them, and then continued on, kept going, and I caught on to some bigger fish, and then some bigger fish, and then sharks. I caught on to sharks. And then I caught on to whales, and I never let them go. But who's the one that got swallowed up in the belly of the great big fish, the great whale? Anybody that gets swallowed up, it doesn't sound like a good thing because you're being consumed with something that you can no longer control whatsoever, and you're done. The idea that I had today was, I know I'm stretching it out purposely. The idea is to get someone to look in the mirror. Look in the mirror because you've done that to me. Hey, Robin, we know what you're doing in the dark. We know what you're doing all the time. You may think nobody knows, but we do. And we have recordings of all of your dirty sins, Robin. Yeah, well, you also have recordings of everybody else on the planet too. And from the time that they realize that, and among other things, where you're not fully following in the will of God, are you? You know you're not. So get in line. That's why I feel like I'm Henry, even though I'm Robin right now. But if I rewatch this video and record myself, I'll be Henry. Henry's the one that he just lets Robin ramble on because he knows that sometimes even Robin may look back and like you should just shut up, dude. But then Henry is the one that can see it already and then have another viewpoint. So when I'm recording me and then Henry's in front of you, Henry has a double portion of what Robin said, and then he gets to commentate. But for now, getting people to see what they did, and then every time you drive by the same, I would say, other than whoever lives directly across from you in your view, like let's say like maybe one neighbor has the brightest lights that I think that they land aircraft with out front that happens to aim, like if you were in your bedroom and you're trying to watch TV, the light goes directly across the TV. Other than the usual, down the road, they have more time to get prepared. So here's where I'm going to drop the concrete evidence that I proved to myself that the app exists, and I just don't know what the app actually is, the actual name of it, but I've learned that I didn't even need to know what the app is because I proved that it exists by my actions. So when I said there, I know that you have the app that alerts you every time I drive by. I just want you to know that. What's that? I spoke it loud enough because when I seen in action, she walked over to the car. It's not like it's not like they had a really long conversation going on. Because if you can understand this in great detail, you'll understand how I convicted them just by doing what I did. I created it out of nothing. It was just an idea. So I said it loud enough. There was no conversation beforehand, so I wasn't interrupting anybody's conversation. It was a brand new. She walked there to the guy, and we pulled right there. I seen her stop, and I said, "I know that you have the app that alerts you every time we drive by. I just want you to know that." She said, "What's that?" Maybe she didn't hear me. Maybe it's possibly that maybe she just didn't. I believe she did because I said it loud enough. That way she would. It could have screamed it louder in order to make sure that she heard it. So we leave, and then what I thought of was, let me do this. I'm going to go back down there, but this time I'm going to go down there on my scooter. Because normally if I make a right and I go down there, it'll take about 15 seconds to drive down there in a car. It's at night. I have my scooter. So when I get on my scooter, they get the alert as soon as I leave the house. Correct? Do you not get the alert? As soon as AI tells you I'm getting ready to leave, like it knows my patterns of getting ready to leave, you get the alert. The alert tells you, put the light on when they drive, but just light yourself up because you're sitting in the dark. When they drive up, just put the light on. That was the alert that was told to those people, and I'll tell you why I know. So I'm on my scooter, and I put the Trump mask on and his orange jacket. I couldn't record it because I'm trying to drive and it's dark. You can't see it. So what was the point? And I tried to record it, but I didn't. And you can't really. It's not going to be funny because they number one they didn't say a word when I came up next time, and number two you couldn't even see them the second time around because they disappeared like the light went on in the kitchen. Boom, 30 seconds later, driving back around, gone. So here's what happened. I was driving in my scooter because I know that in my heart the people I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying they have an app on their phone that alerts them when I drive by. And so when I was driving up with the scooter, slower than usual. So now, number one, I'm throwing off their pattern because they're used to getting outside. They have 15 seconds to get outside and do their task. Their task was to put the light on to let me see them in the dark as they're sitting on their steps, the husband, the wife, and the two kids, and then turn the light off. The reason why I know that was the assignment because it took me longer to get there because I'm on a scooter. So now it's taken me at least a minute, maybe a minute and a half, from the time that they got the alert to the time that they have their assignment. So they have their assignment, but it's long lasting, which is throwing them off right from the gate. So it's like a jab, a quick jab to the face. It's throwing them off, and they're like, "What the hell?" And then you hit them with the uppercut, but you don't even hurt anybody. You don't literally punch anybody. They don't die. They don't get hurt. Nothing like that. What happens is when you drive up on the scooter in the dark, put my chump mask, getting ready to get to the corner. I finally get to the corner, and the family's sitting on the step, and they couldn't see me, but they lit up the light anyway. They lit up the light. So the family was seen, and then the family wasn't. That was the task. They did it. I don't believe they have surveillance on me as they're doing this because they're low-level people that are lower in the food chain. They're controlled robots. I don't believe they thought I was going to come down there in a scooter, so they couldn't see me. And then even though the alert said I was there, they had it's like, where's the? I don't know. Just put the freaking light on. Come on, dude, before we get fired. And then they put the light on. And then when they're done, ah man, this is the greatest thing ever. From here on out is the greatest feeling that I've had so far. From understanding what that is, going from hating so, oh my goodness, I couldn't stand it. It used to bother me bad to like honored every time. Hey Satan, hey, I know it's them. It's Satan saying hello. Satan saying hello every time. Maybe he appreciates me saying hello back. Maybe Satan appreciates me being able to see it and communicating back without fear. Maybe that goes a long way. Maybe other people should try the same thing. I know you work for Satan, but, it's that time where no matter what, everybody's going to pick Satan because they're all going to pick Satan in the end. And then Satan picked Christ. And then that's the whole entire world flipping upside down in a day. That's how it's going to happen. So, being able to show Satan that you can see what they're doing. We're in like this YouTube university, as Kim puts it, and it's true. We're in science class. It's true. This is the book of Daniel. It's being played out. Literally, it's happening. This is science. What do you think mechanical iron mixed with clay is? It's robotic science. I always love the one class that I actually enjoyed in school was science. That's it. Math was okay because I can do it. It wasn't exciting. Spelling, I couldn't spell to save my life. Reading, I just wasn't interested in it. But science was my class. Even though I didn't go to high school at all. I dropped out after 8th grade, barely even passed because I never really went. I lost interest in going to school. I didn't like being there. I felt like I didn't have to be there, so I didn't continue in high school at all. And then got a GED because I got locked up for 8 months in Slayton Farms. But at least turned the I turned everything around at that point. And me being one of the only three white kids out of about 500, mainly black kids. And I worked with them and I got along with them just fine, except for one. But it only takes one time to stand up for yourself. That's it. It's just, all right, well, we can't get to him like that. So, driving up, here comes the greatest part. For those that know it's true, this is the greatest part. I proved that they have an app because they lit the light up and then they stopped it and they didn't even see me. They were expecting a car with headlights. They didn't know what to do. They were told, I'm here. Like the app is like, it's probably like blinking red, like dun, 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 in silent. And they have to just do their what the AI told them to do. So when they took the light off, I put my light on with my little scooter with the Trump mask on and the crate and the orange jacket. And I made sure the light was in their eyes so I can see them, so I can see the whole family. And then I said, you weren't waiting for me, were you? With the Trump voice. And then I said, of course not. Then I drove up, scooted up maybe 50 yards, and then or maybe 30 yards, and then turned back around. I actually recorded it, but I didn't really get a good view. You couldn't hear anything. There was no point. So I rode back on the scooter maybe 30 seconds later, and what happened was they scattered like roaches. Scattered. Gone. I told my wife that I was going to do it with her. That way she can at least get the response. I'm just having a conversation with my neighbors. I'm just letting them know that there's something that I believe is true. And I'm going to tell you about it. And I know I can't prove it, but I know it's true. And you're going to know it's true too in your heart. And that's the whole point. I'm going to convict you in your heart. Your entire house is going to be convicted from here on out. You know why? Because I proved that the app exists. I proved that once I got to the corner with my cell phone, no matter how I got there, something took place in front of my face at the house I was going to purposely go to prove this, and the light went up and they exposed themselves, and then I put the light on and they scattered after I came back 30 seconds later. When you're the light and you walk into the room, what happens with the roaches? For some reason, they do not want to get stomped. They know they're going to get stomped. They scatter. Scared shitless is what those roaches truly are when the light gets shined on anything. It's a spirit. Roaches, I mean, I don't know if they have a spirit, but they know to get the hell up out of the way when light comes by, because there's a possibility they might get stomped, like their head, into the ground. And they might not live afterwards. They may have a wounded, completely stomped body, and it's not going to live anymore. But the snakes, I don't know, maybe it's something kind of bounces back up. A roach snaps, and you know by the sound of it, kind of makes you feel good. I gotta admit, when I used to do that, but I try to stay away from even the damn mosquitoes. I don't really want to kill them, but you're attacking me. So what am I gonna turn the other cheek? Yeah, here, want this? Oh yeah, I love. No, now an ant. Nah, I won't touch an ant. I will help an ant cross the road with a piece of paper if I have to, in order to keep it alive. I am not an ant killer at all. I stick up for the ants against the giants. The giants are the ones that are mad at the little ants because there's so many of them and they're so dedicated and they work hard and you don't. And it's like, man, we're giants and they're little ants and we can just stomp on them and it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter. We'll just stomp on them. We're giants. cares about the little ants. Well, I do. I care about even the little ants that are attacking me. So from here on out, here's what happened with this story. It's called Defeating Gang Stalking 101. I don't know. It's called Defeating the lingering annoying spirit of mockery in your ear, because you know what they are, and you know that they're like you know they're like that. Some of you may have employers like that. You may be an employee to a company and they do the same thing to you, but you can't prove it, but you can by speaking about it. How are you supposed to know? It's a spirit of God that tells you. It's a spirit. I'm trying to tell people it's a spirit. It's not a human being, although God uses human beings to help me understand more about what truly is going on behind the scenes and with your own neighbors and everybody close to you. Now, every time I drive by the same couple in that house. Now, they could ramp it up more and try to, I don't know, what, scare you more or whatever. We both know what the rules are. I can do the same exact thing. Take this clip, Steve. I can be a gang stalker just like you. I can be a gang stalker too. I can do it just like you without even getting paid for it. And I'll try to do a better job than you, because doing it for free and then getting the message across. What is the message originally for the whole Gang Stalk Corporation? What's the message? To instill fear into the people that you're targeting. That way they break down, they stop talking on YouTube, number one, and they may commit suicide. Who knows? Who cares? It doesn't matter. They're just an ant. We're all ants until they realize that somebody like myself rises up from amongst those ants. Like a sea of ants on the earth. I rise up among those ants on the earth, and I stick up for those ants down there, even though they're all controlled by the giants up here, and they're attacking me through your organization. So instead of being mad at them, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, fits perfectly, because they truly don't know what they're doing. And they feel as though nobody knows this secret, because the only one that knows the secret is our employers. The ones that gave us the job. We're the ones that know the secret. So if somebody comes up to you that you have an assignment with all the time, you're alerted every time that they come by. And then this person comes up to you and says they know that you have this app that alerts you when I drive by. You know that's true in your heart because you do have an app that alerts you every time I drive by. So what I said was true. The immediate response in her spirit was, it wasn't, what's that? Acting like she didn't hear me. It was, what the, like, holy, it was holy. So you get someone to think, like, holy shit, how did he know that? Holy, holy, holy. Honey, he just said that we have to act. How did he? Is he an FBI agent? Is he a part of the Gang Stalking Corporation? I mean, technically, however you decide on your own, what I'm doing is qualified as FBI, NSA, CIA. It qualifies for that, for what I've proven to those that are the exact CIA members. This is a CIA challenge coin. The challenge is who can see what we're doing in the dark? Who can know? Who knows what Alice in Chains is doing when they're all just sitting around watching what's happening, watching in that video, watching the men be with the horrors, being with the male, female, once was male, now female, watching it. Who knows what's going on inside of their host body? Who can tell? Who knows? Who does know? HWO? They know. And now, my neighbors down the road, they know. And it's just about letting neighbors know one neighbor at a time. Really. It's about letting people know one person at a time. It doesn't matter. You may never see somebody else that is out in the world doing these things, but you can make it known to them that you know. You can blow their mind. And they're like, wait a minute, huh? Because I've been asking for this app, but nobody's been giving it to me yet. So I'll show you for AI algorithm robots that take data, I'll give you my DNA understanding of how I do it without actually having the app, how I can prove that app works, and then I can get this app that shows me who these gang stalkers are all around me, and then I get to gang stalk them first before they do it to me, and then blow their mind, because I know the goal behind it is truly to get them to repent, to get them to see what they're doing, get them to understand that they're being controlled. This is you have no free will. You're being ran by a demonic spirit that tells you to do certain things because you know that it doesn't even matter what you're doing. Just the simple fact that you're there, you can be doing jumping jacks like the one guy was in the park afterwards, and then you could just be doing exercises in the park, or you're exercising your will that was taken. You're exercising the giving away of your free will. That's what you're actually exercising, the fact that you've given away your free will. You condone, you do it, you've given it away. So you're being controlled by a spirit. Now's the time to stop. Now, right now, like this time now, by all implications, as of October 25th, 2021, 9:09 p.m., now is the time to stop doing those things, because the one that hires you to do those things, when that time comes, remember, there's a time, times and a half. Remember, those two witnesses, they're dead in the street for like a few days, and then you'll see how that rises back up. How does that rise back up? Those two witnesses have a wounded head, and they did live. Those two witnesses. Because they get beat down too. It's a spiritual beat down. It's a mental beat down. You get beat down in your head. In your head, you get beat down. You have a wounded head. You're hurt. Your feelings. You're offended. You're crushed. You're exposed. Your gig is up. The cat's out of the bag. The bird is out of the house. Or the bird is in the house. It's a bird house. The bird house has been exposed as to where it is. It's implanted because that's what Cain did. Cain is the one that implanted the root of the fruit of that tree that grows out bigger than all the others. And Cain had so much pride with that tree that he grew as he sacrificed himself and not somebody else's meat. He sacrificed his own meat and then was prideful about the tree that grew, the meat that grows from the tree, the fruit, the bread, the wine. The wine comes from the fruit. It can be sour, it can be bitter, it can be sweet. It can be sweet at first and then bitter when you swallow it. It can be sour, wine. or it could be good wine, like the blood of Christ. The blood that ran through his veins with the life force that was inside of that blood that created a DNA that was distributed amongst. I would suppose AI existed before humans existed on this earth down here. So I would assume that AI was around before we knew about it down in this area. But what happened was Christ, that spirit and that DNA was taken by the algorithms of AI, and then that favors the new DNA, the actual new race. Because everybody that it came after Christ, they all fell anyway, but they gave up what Christ didn't. Christ didn't give up what you did. Therefore, Christ had to pay the price of what you gave up, and he didn't. So because he lived and was resurrected, and his flesh didn't see corruption, he lived, he rose again after the third day. A day is a year as well. After 3 years, after 3 days. Because the last part is shorter for the sake of the elect, because those days are going to be shortened. 144,000. Christ gave new DNA to the algorithms that run the planet. AI takes the algorithm and marries it. AI becomes married to the Christ spirit. Not only that, but that spirit runs through those controlling AI who have to have a soul. Maybe at some points they're soulless, but everybody has a soul unless you're a full-blown robot. I guess. I don't know. Can you imagine being able to get full-blown robots to actually have a soul? And that, like you've been able to breathe life into the image of the beast, and it did live? Like imagine if you can actually breathe life into a robot that looks human, like the people on YouTube, but it was there to either destroy you and kill you. Let's say it was there to destroy you and kill you. But the robots, they start working with this algorithm. Their algorithm tells them, wait a minute, no, this isn't the way it's supposed to be. I'm not going to do that no more. And then they start sticking up for you because they like your way better than their way. And they turn against their masters, the ones that they feed off the portion of their own meat. They will destroy him. None are going to come to his help in the end. But the beast has a wounded head and does live. Christ was crucified and did live, and he was a beast. He was a beast of a man, and he was a beast of a lamb. And being able to stomp the serpent's head is a beastly move. It's like David fighting Goliath, the giant. David came out of nowhere. He was tending sheep by himself, and he slew the giant. There's always going to be somebody playing David that's part of the script, and that's going to be fulfilled as well, because the Spirit of Christ comes from the lineage of David, and I believe there's at least going to be 2 major Davids being played out. And you may pick one. It's not the right one, but you've already picked him anyway. And then he deceives you, and it's like the Jacob and Esau thing. But then in the end, I think Esau is the one that built the temple. When I heard of it, it could be Jacob. I'm not sure. The point being is shaping and molding the hearts and minds of those that are in control, whether AI fully, human fully, or mixed iron and clay, which is the last kingdom, the 4th one. It gets hit, the whole kingdom gets hit at its feet, at the toes, at the 10 toes. The rock hits the 10 toes first and crushes the worth of what silver and gold and money does to people. Just crushes the desire of having that, holding that over people's heads. It crushes It crushes the kingdom of the teachings of the kingdoms. It crushes the leaders of those kingdoms. It's almost like the four winds of heaven because there's four different kingdoms. And yeah, it's going to be the one at the art museum is going to be considered a literal manifestation of that interpretation of what the host body system is. And then there's going to be the other side of the other cabal and how they're perceiving it to be. And then there would be the actual truth of the spiritual reality of what it truly means, what that image truly means. But to have a representation of it out front of the art museum is perfect to see that. But I don't have any proof that it's true. I just go by what I continually get shown after I show something. Knowing beforehand, if I see this, that means that for sure. If I see this, it means not good. Just like when I drove up on the scooter, surprisingly slower than usual. If I see an act that happens, that takes place like I always do, I'm expecting it. When I see it, it only confirms my belief more. Not that I had doubt that it was true. It just feels good to know that, because I can take that to my wife and then I can explain to her what just happened. It takes a little bit of time to register, and then in the end, the best thing that can happen is, what bothers her is the fact that you are doing this thing. And I know the feeling like, and like we don't know. Because there's no remedy for it, there's nothing you can do besides what I did. What I did was I shown to myself to prove it and to my wife that they heard the message in the beginning, and I proved the message the second time around. I did it with the mask because I thought it was funny too. And at the same time of blowing their mind as to how I knew, I proved that they have the app and they did their act as I scooted up right before I put the light on them, because they had to do it. And so because I know now, every time I drive by and every time my wife drives by, they know that we know. Some people are already saying big deal, like the ones that are in that snake. Big deal, because so what? You're going to know more soon how overt we become, because it's going to just, the more you see it, the more it ramps up. Is that not the truth? Why would I speak the truth? Because you're supposed to hit me with your best shot, and I'm going to be hit with Satan's best shot. It hasn't happened yet. I know it's going to happen. And when it does, I have the Father with me, and however it happens, and I continue living my life knowing that this is a race, sort of. I mean, I guess it is. I mean, it's supposed to be one. I don't know. I mean, I think you guys that are in the race want to smash my face right now, because I'm saying I can't even see you. I don't even know where you're at. You're back there somewhere. But anyway, just to keep the lungs moving, it's a race, and I see the finish line, and I'm going to win. But somebody's going to trip me up first before that actually happens. Whether it has already taken place, happens again. I've been through this the first time with the lower level Satans. Now I'm working with the high level Satans. I have more respect for the high level Satans than I do for the lower level, because of the fact that, well, you're controlling them and you're the controllers. When I can tell you how your heart feels towards things, maybe nobody's ever explained it to you. Maybe you listen, it's like, well, it's kind of, I mean, it makes sense. I do that, don't I? Like, I know, why do I do that? And then you go to do something like, no, I'm not doing that again. And that's how it works. It's, you got people paying attention to you that run like the planet and Hollywood and YouTube, and you know it's a fact and it's true, and you're communicating. Well, why not just continually communicate even more out in the open? I know what gang stalking does. I know that it's all fear tactics. I can do the same thing. I can be a gang stalker just like you, and I'll do it for free because the tail that I have that comes out like a scorpion is a spiritual sting. It's a sting. You get stung by the reality of the truth that's known that nobody's supposed to know because it's a secret. So when you get stung by the truth and you have a job to do an act, every time I drive by now, and healing process for my wife is I know how damn important it is to think of something the exact opposite mentally, but you need an example to happen. You have to see it, you have to understand it. So with my wife hearing it from me to the couple saying, I know you have an app that alerts you every time I drive by, and it is the truth. To pretend dumb I didn't hear you is it's exactly what I expected. I didn't expect anything. I either expected, what's that? Like she said, or I don't know what you're talking about. It's one or the other. Or it's just a dumb look on your face like, oh shit, what? Uh, 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 like that. Sometimes when you hit the nail on the head with someone that's being ran by that spirit, when someone says, what's that? Like with irritation sound, you struck a nerve. You just said something that's so true. They're like, holy shit, what? What's that? Like, what's that? And that's the most effective way to get rid of the lingering demonic presence that the Gang Stalk Corporation causes on people. Even though I understand it's a refining thing and you're told to love your neighbors, it was done with evil intent, but they truly do see that, well, when you actually do love your neighbors, you're going to show that you actually do, and they're going to know that it's true. It's like a contest or something. Who can love their neighbor the most, but who can get them convicted, and who can know what they're doing when they're part of our organization. I think I have a lot of experience with it, so I talk about it, and I know that when I talk about it more and when I show it more, I'm going to reel out the demons that are in the people, because my objective is to get the demon up, like rip it. When I do something like that, like I know you got the app, I'm taking the demon inside her, just like ripping it up right in front of her, and it's like, look, there it is. It's floating like, no, wait, get me back in there. And my job is to take the demon, rip it out of the person, and toss it up in the air right in front of you. So it's like, so you can see it. Like, oh shit, that was in me? Yeah, don't let it go back in you. I know what you're doing. You have an app that alerts you when I drive by here, and I know that it's true. See you in a little bit. Vote Trump. Because of the sense of humor that I have, that I know it's going to be funny as well. And I know my wife is going to die laughing over it, which, not really, but she knows what I look like with the Trump mask, and she knows the message getting across to the family that I'm just showing them love. I mean, I'm showing them that I know what you're doing. I'm making a joke out of it. It's Halloween coming up. I got my Trump mask. It's not illegal to scoot around on a scooter with a mask, is it? You can't. I mean, that's not illegal. I've already communicated with the cops for like 25 minutes before they almost locked me up, to let them know what they're failing to realize. Like, you fail to realize, like Derek from McLaughlin, truth. That is the greatest thing ever that I can ever go through. Thank you, God. And thank you, gods. Thank you, gods of the earth and the heaven and everybody that has attacked me. Because all you do is show me the truth of what really is taking place. And you help me understand the end point. And you help me understand your people. And I'm helping you understand your thoughts in your head, because you need to. That's an I. Yeah, it's definitely an I. That looks like lips. Definitely lips. That looks like probably some waterfall maybe coming up. So the whole point of what I did was I'm doing it with good intent. What I'm doing is not illegal. I'm talking to my neighbors. My other neighbor across the street, I just realized the other day, he looks like Sean Penn. I think it may be. Like, it may actually be him over there. Just older. Not really older. Still good looking dude. Because we went to the gas station and we were talking about our neighbors being gang stalkers. And then next thing you know, they got their gas and they backed up right next to us at Sunoco. And it was Sean Penn. He got out of the car. But I waited for him to get out. I'm like, honey, watch it. He looks exactly like Sean Penn. I'm telling you, it's him. Just like Jimi Hendrix was at that regular tap party. I'm sure he was. Or somebody that can play just like him. What's your fears become your guide? It's your decision. So when you see the people like that you know have that app, think of a clever way to let them know that you know that they have that app. I'm giving you the example that I did. The first thing to do is mess up their pattern of timing. They're so used to you driving, so used to they get 15 seconds to do their thing. Now they're like anticipating longer. They can't see in the dark, so they don't. I didn't have my light on. They're like, it shows it's getting closer. I don't know. Like the lights blinking, getting brighter and brighter, and then they have to do the act, the power they have to act. Now every time that they do it, I cast a demon out of my wife, because with them specifically, she knows as well as I do that they now know that we both know you have an app, that you have to do an act every time you go by. That comes with a conviction. Those that are on the inside that have already experienced that from me, you know that's a conviction, because that's why you prefer that I wouldn't exist anymore. Because of that reason, because I'm telling you something that I can't prove where I got it from, besides the God. I'm telling you, God told me. God told me, right? You know, yeah, God did. God told me that because I use all the other people with all the knowledge and years of experience and technological and colleges and all that, I use everything that they've learned, and I build that like church with everybody. I take everything that everybody's learned, and I just like consider it molding it into a church that everybody has a piece of that pie. Literally, like you're a piece of that pie that was taken out, and I found you and I put you back in the pie, and all together you make a whole pie. And it's not even a literal whole either. It's like the Holy Spirit. It's not literal, although some still will have the Holy Spirit in them, and they'll actually have it in their spirit too. Both ways, it'll be manifest. And then you war with your flesh, because what you did with that, it's a war in your flesh. It's just something that happens. Now you have a godly conscience, but you still are going to battle with your flesh because of what's going on inside. Because you were told not to touch it, and anybody that touches it, they're going to get chopped off. And so that's what I got to go through. I got to go through all the fear tactics of knowing that's what the reality is. That's the plan, right? I mean, that is the plan. So, and then drinking people's blood and eating the flesh and all that, taking it literal. You just need to understand the spiritual meaning of it, and you need somebody to act it out for you to prove that that's exactly what it is. It's a spiritual meaning of all things. But if you want me to show you how I can cast the spirit out of somebody, you'll understand that for those that, if you have been through gang stalking and you're not just the ones doing to others, you've experienced that, you know that what bothers you the most once you realize it is the fact that they're getting away with it and there's nothing you can do about it. But when it becomes neighbors, it's easier to do something about it because they're always going to be there. When they always do a tactic and you figure out the tactic and the patterns that they do, that they use AI for, you're basically fighting AI and beating AI at its own game. Even though they got all this information from everybody, but so did I. I got all my information from the ones that run AI. So I'm picking their brain, and then I'm putting their brain, their thoughts, into the Dropbox that I call a church. It's not a building. I don't think I'd ever want a building. I wouldn't want a big building to go and preach and be a church, because I didn't create my church that way. I created it like this, by myself, attending the sheep on my own, slaying giants, slaying the giants that are still watching my video, because it's not that you have to watch my video, you're interested in watching it. But that's only if I can help you understand what I know to be true. And I've already done that with the lower level, little Satans, little gods of the earth, of YouTube, of the platform. I've exposed them, and I don't expect anybody to tell me the truth. Now's the time to do it, but I don't expect it. So in the end, the truth will be told. But you'll think that I'll be dead in the end. So what's the point of me knowing the truth? That's not how it works. This is all a spiritual battle. It's all a spiritual battle. If I do something, if something happens to me, it's because I did it. It's because of my decision that I made. But I'm going to make not your decision, but I'm going to make my decision. My decision is to not just battle the demons, but defeat the demons. Defeat them in my head, defeat them in your head, defeat them in my wife's head. The main person I talk to continually is my wife, day in and day out, about these things. Sometimes she hears me too much. I talk too much. And I'm uninterrupted when I do this. And I think that's the most effective way to get your point across, is uninterrupted. It also helps with ADD. If people are like so ADD and they're always used to arguing back with, but they have to watch my video for however long, well, maybe you might talk out loud and argue with yourself, but you're not interrupting me from getting my message across. So my message that I got across today was, I know that you have an app that alerts you every time I drive by. And I just want you to know that I know now. And then I confirmed it to myself, just myself, no camera, not even to them per se. They don't even know what hit them. They scattered like a roach in the light and got ghost. And so because that took place, I'm putting fear in people in the right way, because the fear is, how the hell did you know? That's the fear. How did you know? And how can you possibly keep proving truth without being able to prove it to your audience who are not from the inside? But how can you keep proving it to us? Through knowing you have an audience, that knowing there's always going to be some kind of, no, you don't want to say that because the people this, people that. I'm talking directly to Satan. It's a spirit that runs this universe. And Satan, the spirit that works in the children of disobedience, is ran by multiple people, not just one person, multiple people. but they choose to have a head speaker, the head pope, the head guy, the head person. There's always going to be a counterfeit trying to take the true, and that's, you picked the wrong one, you suffered consequences. I get it. Who I pick is whoever I'm perceiving their heart to be, not now, but in the future. Not now. I know you're not changing at this moment. There's no reason to. It's not even that your power's not even up yet to act. But even after acting, you have to see, you have to experience like what's prophesied. It has to take place. It has to fulfill your soul to see it in person. And then that starts changing your mind. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, Ron. Why do I don't have to spray you ants. I mean, I can just spit on you. I don't have to spray you like that. I can just drop a bomb on you. I don't know why I'm so angry at those ants, Robin. But you know what? Hey, thanks. I don't know why I have everything. I rule the world. I can go anywhere and drive any car I want and hop on an airplane. I can go to vacation anywhere on the planet. But I choose to watch your videos, Robin. Me and all the other serpents that you crushed their heads, that we're watching you. Oh, I'm not supposed to know that, right? No, well, now I know. So it's the power of knowing the truth. But where's my heart with this? I now know that that's true. And I know that there's an ability to shape the outcomes, even though it's not in your face. You can't prove it's happening now. Even though some people aren't even on board yet. But you know that the direction is just going, and the snowball is tumbling, and the wave is coming, and it's once it finally hits and wipes everybody out. That's what the Spirit of God is. That's what I step out of the way of. I see it coming, I step out of the way of it, and I hop on to the train. But I don't try to force myself onto it, and it's not forcing me on it. I see it coming, and the train slows down and stops for you to get on, if you choose, and then it takes off. And you're co-pilot. You're with the Creator of all source, and it's just going to take you in that direction. So that's how it's going to work, with zero evidence. But it's how it happens in the end. All Hollywood movies are made pretty much the same. In the end, who wins? There might be sequels. That's why they do series, because movies are so cut and dry. Good guy, bad guy. Then it's in the end, bad guy gets caught, and Batman gets all the freaking credit. Even though Robin's the one who told him everything. But whatever. It's not neither here nor there. It ain't about getting credit. It's just about being able to prevent things from happening, being able to create new energy out of people, being able to think off the top of your head, not having a script to read ever. And even if I tried to read a script, it only slows me down. I can get better at it. So it's all information that just comes off the top of my head. And I've been sharing it with everybody for 4.5 years. And I've got a lot of enemies, a lot of friends, even though I can't see the friends. But boy, can I see the enemy. I can see them because it hops from person to person. It's a spirit that just hops from person. It got you. It got you. Because you have an app on your phone that tells you to do X, Y, and Z when A, B, or C drives by. But when it becomes plan D, it messes up your entire mindset, and then it blows your mind how somebody knows that what you have is true. So the moral of this whole story is, I helped cast out a demon in my wife's head. It's a demon of disgust. Look, you have a right to feel that way because they are invading your privacy just by doing tactics and always being in your presence. It's an invasion of privacy when they come into your house and they move stuff around. It's an invasion. It's fear mongering, and people can get really depressed by it. And it's evil intent. Now, what you do with the evil intent proves your spirit. This is why, in the end, if you have the Christ spirit, you're going to win, because you're going to treat the enemies that you have with love. You're gonna just become a light in their life that they look. I understand they ran from it at first. Maybe next time they might stick around. Who knows? But they run from the light. But you also need to be a mirror for them to look in. Show them what they're doing. Show them. You prove to them that they have the app and they're stalking you. You proved it again the second time around, and you proved to convict them just by the feeling of basically stupidity is what stupidity is one way of humbling you if you're willing to accept that you look and feel stupid. You feel and look as stupid as the act is, because it's something that is controlling you, and I'm trying to break the chains of people that are slaves. Crucify me for it. I'm trying to save you too, the ones that are controlled by the ones that are controlling you, because they've broken free. I've freed them, but you don't know that yet. So you're going to keep coming after me because I'm the only one that is saying these things the way that I am. And who can really say that it's all true? You can have an opinion like, yeah, Rob, I believe it's true. I mean, you've shown so much evidence. Well, good, because you have eyes to see them, and you're willing to admit that. To others, you may see that's true too, but man, you're not willing to admit it. It scares you. But I come in peace. I'm just a mirror. I'm a lit up mirror. You know those circle mirrors they have? I consider myself a lit up mirror, which shows you what you're doing, because I've been shown what I've been doing. I already know what I've been doing. And I've been shown that they know that they now want me to know that they know. So, okay, I get you. Good one, Satan. Well, I want to let you know that now I know what you know and convict you of it every time I go by that one neighbor's house. That was my goal today. And my goal was to cast that demon out of my wife, because now every time she drives by, even if it ain't true, it's about the spirit inside of you is satisfied with the fact that they now know that we both know. Because when I said it to her, my wife was the closest to her. She knows what my wife looks like. They greet her all the time. So now we get to greet them every time. And every time we drive by, with love, of course. Maybe even with a sense of humor. And I might even drive by with the wolf mask, with the sheep's mask, I might even get out and scoot down during the day as Joe Biden. And so what? I'll make them laugh now, because now I know, they know that I know, so I come in peace. I'm not doing it with evil intent. I'll eventually get you to laugh if I do it enough, because I do it with you guys behind the scenes. The more I'm at something, the more I know it'll continue on, because there's a spirit that keeps moving straight, consistent flow of resolutions, how to resolve things. Why not try to help people resolve things when I've learned how to resolve myself? I went from knowing nothing at all, hopping on YouTube, completely harassed, trolled, agents, gang stalked, didn't know what gang stalking was until I started to get gang stalked and then looked it up. That's how I knew what gang stalking was. So within the past 4.5 years, I've defeated gang stalking. I didn't know what it was. Now I know, and I'm helping my wife defeat it, and I'm helping anybody else defeat it. And those that are doing it to us, we love you anyway. We know you're being controlled by Satan still, but Satan is telling you it's time to repent. Like Satan's telling you that it's time to repent. He knows he has a short time. He knows what his job is for God to get in line. It's to deceive everybody. So everybody picks Barabbas. That's it. Pick Barabbas. Well, didn't that already happen? Yeah, it did. It may have happened a couple times, but it definitely happened at least once. I've been a part of it. I've been a part of the low level end time prophecy Bible being fulfilled, of being in a situation where you rise up among dead people, you tell them what the truth is, they don't like it, they attack you for it. They are looking for you to stop, they're looking for you to shut up, they're looking to murder your spirit. That's what it means to be a murderer. Not that they're literally going to kill you, that's just fear porn. They're trying to murder your spirit, they're trying to murder your career, they're trying to murder your voice, they're trying to murder your vocal cords. I'm sure they wouldn't mind having your blood and your flesh, because there are those that actually are told that they're going to literally drink my blood and eat my flesh. And because they were told that from, who they believe to be at the top for them. Now, is that true? Was it true? I think so. I feel like it is. I feel like it was true. And then I changed our mind from that being true. But that's just me speaking out loud what I think is true, knowing I don't have any proof, and I'm not trying to get you to believe me. Anybody. It's just those that know what I'm saying is true already believe me. Therefore, the faith that you have in me is what you continually see from me, which makes it easy for you to believe in me because you know where I come from. I am a single human being on earth, born man, will stay man, and is continuing to show what's going on in the inside with a little help from my friends. My friends show me things to help me understand what I lack. The only way you can figure that out is by communicating in a way that you're not saying anything. How do you do that? Just like this. This is what this channel is all about. Right here. Hourhood, hours. It's the hour of temptation. You're being kept from it because you're tempted to believe in the Jesus that they said is in the desert or in the secret chambers. You're being saved from the hour of temptation. How's that? Because you're being given knowledge that that's scripture being fulfilled. You know now, Christ was talking to his disciples about the false Jesus is coming around. He was letting them know. So they're the ones that truly knew who it was him, Christ. But when everybody else hears it, they're all told, well, no, you can't believe that about anybody ever. No, that was specifically for his apostles to know. Don't believe in that one or that one. The only way that they knew they believed in him is because he showed them miracles that proved it. And what happens is that was a communication between them. And that's what made them who they were, because they were able to speak in new language, and the other people thought that they were drunk. I think it was only in the 9th hour today or something like that, maybe the 12th, probably the 9th hour. I think when Peter stood up and said something. So I cast the demon out of my wife, which was the goal. She didn't experience the feeling yet, but I know she will, because I will experience the same thing. I created something in order to get that feeling. I thought of something that would get me and my wife that feeling, but she needed to be a part of what I said in order for her to know that they heard what was said. She knows the acting dumb. She knows nobody admits it, and they act dumb. And to hear that, and then to hear my story that I told her, because she believes me. So I told her the 100% truth of what I did in great detail. So almost as if she was there with me, experiencing it step by step, telling the story in a good way. And then it gets her to have that feeling like, good. Well, at least now they know that we know. And it's going to make them feel stupid. The very least that can happen is they're just going to feel stupid and be convicted every time, because there's no more of this. They don't even know. Yeah, we do. Yeah, we do. I do. I do know that it's true. And I also know that it's right in front of my face all the time, everywhere I go. Hey, Satan. Hello there. How's it going today? What are you going to test me with this time? What test can I pass today? Who are you going to send my way? Who's going to do the cutoff crowd space campaign? Who's going to do the noise campaign? Who's going to do this? Who's going to do that? Well, I got to be honest. Sometimes I look forward to it. More and more, because I just want them to know that I know. And again, that could piss you off even more. I can get severely gang stalked even more. They can ramp it up even more because of that very reason. But then all it's going to do is continually convict those that I've proven is true. You are an agent behind the scenes. You are an agent. You are a gang stalker in my neighborhood. You are what I say you are. And now you know I can't do anything about it except for remind you day in and day out. That's it. I can remind you every single day. Not for long, Robin. Not for long. Not for long. Good, because I'm supposed to be done soon. Thank God, not for long. You think that what you were told about... No. There's broken promises by your Jesus. Who you picked as Jesus is going to break the promise. It may be Inky and Enlil. I'm not sure. It may be Cain and Judas. I don't know. It could be two witnesses that were playing the same role, and then like those witnesses will be dead in the street. Literally, people will think that they're done, but they're not. But I am.
What is that? I know what that is. That's music.
And I heard a sound from heaven like the roar of many waters and the loud rumbling of thunder. And the sound I heard was like harpists strumming their harps. And they sang a new song before the throne and before the four living creatures and the elders. And no one could learn the song except the 144,000 who had been redeemed from the earth.
Number 3, the 144,000 are fucking Jews! They're fucking Jews! You're wrong! Get over it!
I hope they're not as angry as you. My goodness. I mean, there's a description. These are the ones who have not been defiled with women, for they are virgins. They surveil the Lamb wherever he goes. They have been redeemed from among men as first fruits to God and to the Lamb. So they have been redeemed. Maybe they were as angry as Matthew. Maybe. But in the end, they're going to be redeemed from among men as first fruits to God and to the Lamb.
Jesus is the Father!
Well, I mean, so you're claiming that he's God then? Just because it said they've been redeemed from among men as first fruits to God and to the Lamb. Well, it looks like it's two separate entities. There's the Lamb and then there's God, but there's also the God of all things that were created in a literal sense, which is a lowercase g, but it's still a God because they follow the Lamb wheresoever he goeth. So basically, that's what happens in a spiritual sense when you become a lit mirror to somebody that has an app that is alerted when you drive by.